The ocean hides more secrets than your neighbor hiding cash from taxes. Before we dive in, hit subscribe and join our Telegram channel, link in the description below. That's where the strange stories, bonus facts, and the weird stuff that somehow didn't make the video go. Because apparently the ocean keeps producing mysteries faster than humanity produces conspiracy theories. Now grab your life jacket, forget everything movies taught you, and let's sail straight into some of the biggest lies about the ocean and the Bermuda Triangle. 1. The Bermuda Triangle is a giant ocean monster that eats everything. If movies taught us anything, it's that the Bermuda Triangle is basically Earth with a software bug installed. Planes disappear, ships vanish, compasses spin like they just drank 6 cups of coffee. Somewhere in the background, dramatic music starts playing and a narrator whispers, "No one knows why." The Bermuda Triangle became famous because mysterious stories sell better than ordinary reality. Saying a ship encountered rough weather and navigation problems sounds about as exciting as reading microwave instructions. But saying a mysterious force swallowed an aircraft suddenly turns a weather report into a Hollywood trailer. Here's the strange part. The area between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico is one of the busiest shipping regions on the entire planet. Thousands upon thousands of ships and planes move through it regularly. If you have millions of vehicles traveling through one area for decades, weird incidents are guaranteed to happen. That's statistics doing statistics things. It's like standing beside a highway all day and acting shocked that eventually someone gets a flat tire. The Bermuda Triangle isn't a monster. It just won the greatest marketing campaign in ocean history. 2. The ocean is calm and peaceful. Deep down, people love saying things like, "The ocean is peaceful." Really? Peaceful? That's because they're standing on a beach holding a smoothie while tiny waves politely touch their feet. The deep ocean is basically nature saying, "I woke up today and chose violence." Down there, sunlight disappears. Temperatures drop close to freezing. Pressure becomes so insane that if you somehow teleported down without protection, your body would experience a very unpleasant and extremely short career. Imagine placing a soda can under a hydraulic press. Now imagine the ocean saying, "Cute," and the creatures living there look less like animals and more like rejected science fiction ideas. Fish with glowing heads, squid with eyes the size of dinner plates, tiny predators carrying lights like underwater horror movie villains. People picture dolphins swimming around and soft music playing. Reality is more like an alien city where everyone evolved under impossible conditions and every resident looks like they lost a fight against evolution. The ocean isn't peaceful. The top few feet are peaceful. Everything below that is Earth's basement where reality starts acting weird. 3. We know more about space than the ocean. You've heard this one before. Everybody has. We've explored more of space than our own oceans. Sounds dramatic. Sounds mysterious. Sounds like something a guy in a documentary says while staring at the horizon. But it's also misleading. We actually understand a huge amount about our oceans. We know currents, temperatures, chemistry, seafloor structures, migration patterns, and thousands of marine species. Scientists map ocean floors with satellites and advanced sonar systems. The confusion starts because space is easier to observe from a distance. Looking at Mars is simple compared to exploring miles of dark water, trying to survive crushing pressure while operating expensive equipment that costs more than some neighborhoods. Imagine trying to inspect your attic versus inspecting the bottom of a swimming pool while someone stacks cars on your chest. That's the difference. Space is huge but visible. The ocean is nearby, but acts like it absolutely does not want visitors. So yes, there are still massive mysteries underwater. Entire ecosystems remain undiscovered. But saying we know more about space than the ocean is like saying you know more about your neighbor than your own basement, because the basement keeps trying to kill you. The ocean isn't unknown, it's just extremely good at making scientists work for every answer. 4. Sharks are constantly hunting. Humans like underwater serial killers. Thanks to movies, sharks have one of the worst public relations disasters in history. Somewhere along the way, people decided sharks spend all day swimming around with tiny mustaches thinking, "Excellent, another human has entered the water." Meanwhile, reality is sitting in the corner, quietly raising its hand. Humans are not shark food. Think about it. If sharks truly loved eating people, beaches would look very different. Lifeguards wouldn't need whistles. They'd need military evacuation plans and emergency helicopters permanently parked next to the snack stand. Most sharks actually prefer fish, seals, and smaller marine animals. Humans are weirdly shaped, bony, and not particularly interesting from a shark menu perspective. To a shark, we're basically mystery-flavored floating objects. Many attacks happen because visibility underwater is terrible. Imagine trying to identify something from far away in dark water while moving fast. A surfer on a board can sometimes look like a seal from below. The shark takes one confused bite and suddenly realizes, wait, this isn't dinner. Even sharks have moments where they basically say, oops, wrong order. Humanity somehow turned a curious fish into the ocean's most misunderstood celebrity. 5. The Bermuda Triangle makes compasses spin like crazy. This one appears in almost every mystery documentary ever made. A captain looks terrified. Dramatic music begins. The compass needle starts moving. Then somebody whispers, "The triangle is interfering with navigation." And suddenly it sounds like the ocean has installed supernatural Wi-Fi. The truth is much less cinematic. Compasses point toward magnetic north, not true north. And Earth's magnetic field isn't perfectly smooth. There are places where the difference between magnetic north and actual geographic north changes. Long ago, some navigators passing through parts of the Bermuda Triangle noticed unusual compass readings. That's it. That's the big mystery. The problem came later when people started treating normal magnetic variations like they were evidence of a portal opening beneath the ocean. Imagine your GPS telling you to turn slightly left and deciding aliens hacked your car. Also, modern ships and aircraft use far more than a simple compass. GPS, satellites, computers, weather systems, the whole operation looks less like pirate navigation and more like NASA trying to order pizza. The Bermuda Triangle isn't breaking compasses. Earth is just being Earth, and humans immediately turned it into a season finale. 6. Giant squids attack ships and drag them underwater. For hundreds of years, sailors told stories about giant sea monsters wrapping tentacles around ships and pulling entire crews into the deep. People laughed at them. Then scientists eventually discovered giant squids actually exist. And suddenly everyone had that awkward moment where reality walked into the room and said, "Surprise." Now, before anyone starts canceling boat trips, giant squids are real, but not in the Hollywood version. These creatures can grow incredibly large. They have massive eyes, long tentacles, and honestly look like something designed during a nightmare. If one appeared beside your boat at night, nobody would blame you for immediately reconsidering every life choice you've ever made. But giant squids aren't out there hunting cruise ships like underwater supervillains. They're deep-sea animals that mostly want privacy. Actually, scientists spent years struggling to even photograph them because the squids kept avoiding humans. Imagine becoming legendary because people think you're destroying ships while your real personality is basically, "Please stop bothering me and turn off the lights." The giant squid went from mythical sea monster to the ocean's giant introvert. And just when you think the ocean couldn't get weirder. 7. The ocean floor is flat and empty. People picture the ocean floor as one endless, boring stretch of mud. Just darkness, sand, and maybe a fish wandering around wondering where everybody went. Basically underwater Kansas. Not even close. The ocean floor is chaos. There are mountain ranges longer than anything on land. Massive underwater volcanoes, deep canyons, giant trenches, cliffs, cracks in Earth's crust, entire landscapes hidden beneath miles of water. The underwater mountain chain wrapping around the planet is so huge that if you could somehow drain the oceans, Earth would suddenly look like another world. And then there are hydrothermal vents, basically underwater hot springs where superheated water blasts out of the planet itself. Around these vents, entire ecosystems survive without sunlight. No sunshine, no beaches, no dolphins jumping around. Just strange life forms hanging out near boiling mineral water, like they discovered the world's weirdest vacation resort. Humans looked at all of this and somehow still imagined a giant empty floor. Meanwhile, the ocean was secretly building an entire hidden planet underneath us. 8. The deep ocean is completely silent. Movies love this lie. Everything goes dark. The camera moves slowly through the water. No sound, nothing. Just endless silence. In reality, the ocean is louder than a family road trip after someone says, "We're not stopping for food." Whales communicate across incredible distances. Shrimp make snapping sounds so powerful they can stun tiny prey. Fish produce grunts, clicks, hums, and strange noises that sound like broken musical instruments. And then humans entered the chat. Cargo ships, engines, sonar systems, drilling equipment, giant machines crossing oceans day and night. The deep sea isn't some peaceful library where creatures quietly float around thinking philosophical thoughts. It's more like a giant underwater city where everybody is making noise at once. Scientists actually discovered certain ocean regions can become incredibly loud because sound travels underwater much better than through air. Imagine hearing traffic from hundreds of miles away. The ocean isn't silent. It's just that humans spent years standing on beaches hearing waves and assuming the rest of the ocean was sitting down there respectfully, keeping quiet. 9. The Bermuda Triangle swallows more ships than anywhere else. If documentaries are to be believed, the Bermuda Triangle spends its weekends collecting ships like your grandparents collected decorative plates. Every story sounds dramatic. Another vessel vanished without explanation. Cue thunder. Cue scary music. Cue a camera zooming into dark water for absolutely no reason. But here's the problem. The Bermuda Triangle isn't leading some mysterious disappearance championship. This area happens to be one of the busiest shipping and flight zones on Earth. Imagine one of the largest highways in America. Thousands of vehicles use it every day. Eventually, accidents happen because that's what large numbers do. But nobody creates a TV special called The Mysterious Interstate of Ohio. Weather in the region can also change fast. Sudden storms, powerful waves, unpredictable winds, and human mistakes can all create disasters without needing magical forces. The weird thing is that people remember mysterious disappearances and forget normal trips. Thousands of planes safely cross the Bermuda Triangle constantly, but nobody makes headlines saying, "Flight reaches destination exactly as expected." Apparently, ordinary success isn't mysterious enough. 10. There are no rivers or lakes underwater. At first, this sounds obvious. Underwater rivers? Really? That's like saying there are campfires inside volcanoes, but somehow the ocean once again decided normal rules were optional. Scientists discovered underwater rivers and lakes that actually exist beneath the sea. Not the kind with little fish building tiny docks and opening seafood restaurants, but real flowing bodies of liquid. How does that even work? Salt concentration. Some areas become much saltier and denser than surrounding water. Because this heavy water behaves differently, it can form channels and pools across the seafloor. And the strangest part? Certain underwater lakes are deadly. Animals swimming into them sometimes can't escape because the chemistry becomes dangerous. Imagine hiking through a forest and discovering a lake where nature hung up a giant sign saying, "Absolutely not." The ocean somehow created lakes inside itself. At this point, Earth feels less like a planet and more like a game where developers kept adding strange updates. 11. Megalodon is still hiding somewhere in the ocean. Ah yes, the internet's favorite giant nightmare. Every few months, somebody uploads blurry footage of a wave, a shadow, or something that could easily be a floating log, and suddenly headlines appear. Megalodon may still be alive. Because apparently, humanity collectively decided normal sharks weren't stressful enough. The Megalodon was real, and it was ridiculous. Imagine a shark so massive that modern sharks would probably look at it and say, "Sir, calm down." It ruled oceans millions of years ago and could reach absurd sizes. But here's the problem with the secret survival theory. Huge predators need huge amounts of food. A gigantic shark population couldn't spend millions of years quietly playing hide-and-seek without leaving evidence behind. We'd find remains. We'd discover feeding patterns. Something would eventually appear. Also think about this. People can barely hide surprise birthday parties for 3 days. We're supposed to believe Earth's biggest shark successfully disappeared forever? Megalodon isn't secretly lurking in dark water. It's just living rent-free inside humanity's imagination. 12. The ocean makes up. Most of Earth's oxygen people usually imagine forests doing all the work. Trees standing proudly, making oxygen while dramatic music plays and birds fly around like a nature documentary. Trees absolutely matter, but the ocean quietly sits there saying, "Excuse me, I helped too." Tiny organisms called phytoplankton produce enormous amounts of Earth's oxygen. And when I say tiny, I mean microscopic. You can't even see most of them. Imagine discovering that the planet's oxygen supply partly depends on billions of invisible floating dots. It's like finding out the world's economy is secretly controlled by ants. These little organisms drift through the ocean using sunlight and photosynthesis, helping create oxygen that spreads around the planet. Which means every breath you take might include oxygen, partly made by microscopic life floating somewhere in the sea. Humanity spends time admiring giant trees. Meanwhile, tiny ocean organisms are quietly doing massive amounts of work with absolutely zero recognition. Classic group project situation, and just when you think the ocean couldn't become more ridiculous. 13. Every creature in the deep ocean is huge. People hear words like giant squid and immediately assume everything in deep water is enormous. Some imagine sea spiders the size of trucks and shrimp large enough to pay taxes. Thanks, movies. Certain deep-sea animals do become unusually large. Scientists call this deep-sea gigantism. Cold temperatures and weird environmental conditions can create oversized creatures. But not everything down there becomes a monster. Plenty of animals are tiny. Some are so small they could sit on your fingertip and still have room left over for bad decisions. The funny part is that humans hear about giant examples and completely ignore normal ones. Nobody gets excited hearing, "Scientists discover another average-sized fish." No, people want giant nightmare squid and mysterious creatures with glowing faces. Deep oceans contain huge animals, tiny animals, and everything between. Nature basically walked into a buffet and said, "I'll take one of everything." 14. The ocean is blue because it reflects the sky. This sounds completely reasonable. You look at the ocean, you look at the sky, both are blue, case closed, everybody go home. Except reality once again decided to make things weird. Water actually absorbs different colors of light differently. Red, orange, and yellow disappear faster as light travels through water. Blue light sticks around longer and scatters more effectively. That's why oceans appear blue. Sure, reflections from the sky can influence color somewhat, especially near the surface. But if oceans only reflected skies, cloudy days would turn oceans into giant gray puddles. Instead, water itself plays a huge role. It's one of those facts that feels like discovering your favorite magician's trick works completely differently than you imagine. For years, humanity looked at the ocean and confidently said, "Obviously, it's reflecting the sky." Meanwhile, physics quietly sat in the corner thinking, "You people really do just guess things, don't you?" 15. Nothing can live at the very bottom of the ocean. For a long time, people thought the deepest ocean areas were basically underwater wastelands. Dark, freezing, crushing pressure. End of story. Scientists assumed nothing could survive down there because the conditions looked impossible. To be fair, if someone described it to you, you'd probably agree. No sunlight, pressure strong enough to crush submarines, temperatures near freezing, sounds less like an ecosystem and more like Earth's final boss level. Then scientists started exploring deeper, and the ocean basically laughed. They found fish, worms, strange crustaceans, and bizarre creatures surviving in places nobody expected life to exist. Some organisms even live near hydrothermal vents, blasting out superheated chemicals. Imagine living beside underwater volcanoes, because apparently normal neighborhoods were too boring. Life keeps showing up in impossible places. Humanity looked at the deepest parts of Earth and said, "Nothing can survive there." Nature looked back and said, "Hold my plankton." 16. The Bermuda Triangle creates instant disappearances. Movies make it seem like ships enter the Bermuda Triangle and immediately vanish into another dimension. One second you're sailing peacefully, the next second, gone. No warning, no explanation, just dramatic music and a confused captain staring at blinking equipment. Reality is much less interested in Hollywood scripts. Most incidents associated with the Bermuda Triangle weren't magical vanishings at all. Weather changes, mechanical failures, navigation mistakes, and rough seas often happened first. But humans love mystery more than boring explanations. Imagine hearing two stories: a plane encountered engine trouble and bad weather, or a mysterious force consumed the aircraft. Exactly. One sounds like a transportation report. The other sounds like Netflix already ordered 3 seasons. And here's another detail people forget. Many so-called Bermuda disappearances happened decades ago when navigation systems weren't exactly space-age technology. Pilots and captains often relied on maps, simple instruments, and hoping nature decided to cooperate. Back then, getting lost was easier than losing your TV remote today. The Bermuda Triangle didn't create instant disappearances. Human storytelling did. 17. All jellyfish have tiny brains. Planning tiny evil things. People see jellyfish and immediately assume they're ocean villains floating around with one mission: let's ruin somebody's beach vacation. Which, honestly, feels personal. You step into water for 3 peaceful seconds, and suddenly your leg feels like it lost a fight with electricity. Naturally, people imagine jellyfish sitting underwater like tiny criminals plotting attacks. But here's the weird truth. Jellyfish don't even have brains. No brain. None. Zero. They survive using a simple nerve network that reacts to their environment. Imagine spending your entire existence floating wherever currents decide, with no plans, no goals, and basically operating like biological screensavers. They're less like underwater masterminds and more like living balloons with commitment issues. And somehow, they've survived for hundreds of millions of years. Think about that for a second. Entire species appeared and disappeared. Dinosaurs came and went. Ice ages happened. Meanwhile, jellyfish were floating around saying absolutely nothing because they literally couldn't. Humanity keeps inventing complicated technology. The jellyfish strategy was apparently no brain, just vibes. And somehow it worked. 18. The deep sea is always freezing cold everywhere. People imagine the deep ocean as one giant underwater freezer. Darkness, ice-cold water, sad fish questioning their life choices. And while many deep regions are incredibly cold, the ocean once again refuses to keep things simple. Because some places down there are ridiculously hot. Hydrothermal vents blast superheated water from Earth's crust into the surrounding ocean. Temperatures near these vents can become unbelievably extreme. Now here's the part that feels fake. Life exists around them, not just a little life. Entire communities of organisms gather around these areas like they're attending the strangest neighborhood barbecue in existence. Huge worms, unusual crabs, strange bacteria, all living around water hot enough to sound impossible. Imagine discovering an apartment complex built beside active volcanoes and everybody living there casually saying, "Yeah, nice area, schools are good." Nature keeps proving that humans have a very limited imagination. We look at impossible conditions and say, nothing could survive there. Then the ocean responds, watch this. 19. Sea monsters were completely made up. For centuries, sailors described giant creatures in the ocean, and everybody assumed they were simply spending too much time drinking questionable liquids at sea. People heard stories about massive tentacles, giant beasts, and strange creatures rising from dark water. Most listeners probably reacted with, "Sure, Captain, and yesterday you wrestled the moon." But here's the funny part. Some of those sailors weren't entirely wrong. Giant squids turned out to exist. Enormous whales exist. Massive oarfish exist and can grow to shocking lengths. Imagine seeing a 20-foot sea creature suddenly appear beside your small wooden ship in the middle of a storm at night. No internet, no biology books, no Google search, just panic. Honestly, you'd probably run back to shore screaming about ocean demons too. People love mocking ancient sailors. But if a giant shadow with giant eyes surfaced next to your boat at 2 in the morning, suddenly everybody becomes very understanding. Maybe the sailors weren't crazy. Maybe they were just having the world's worst workday. 20. The ocean floor never changes. People imagine the bottom of the ocean as permanent, like a giant underwater parking lot. Once it's there, that's it. Finished. Nothing moves, nothing changes, except Earth apparently missed that memo. The seafloor constantly changes through volcanic activity, tectonic movement, underwater landslides, and spreading ridges. Entire sections slowly shift over time. Mountains rise. Cracks open. Volcanoes form. Earth basically keeps renovating when nobody's watching. Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering your backyard had quietly built itself a mountain overnight. You'd have questions. Scientists discovered underwater mountain ranges stretching across huge distances around the planet. And some volcanic eruptions happen completely underwater without people noticing immediately. Meanwhile, humans casually walk around assuming the ocean floor is sitting still. The planet underneath us is actually moving all the time. Earth isn't a finished project. It's still under construction. And apparently nobody informed the residents. And somehow, it still gets stranger. 21. Whales spray water. From their heads like living fountains, cartoons have lied to generations. Everybody pictures whales shooting giant streams of ocean water from blowholes like biological fire hydrants. You see it in movies, children's books, documentaries, pretty much everywhere. A whale surfaces, dramatic spray shoots into the air, everybody points excitedly. But whales aren't spraying seawater, they're breathing. The mist people see mostly comes from warm air exploding out of their lungs mixed with water droplets around the blowhole. Imagine stepping outside during winter and seeing your breath become visible. Now imagine doing that if you weighed over 100 tons. Suddenly, your breathing becomes an event. Whales basically have the world's most dramatic exhale. Humanity looked at giant sea mammals breathing normally and somehow decided, look at that animal shooting water from its head. Meanwhile, whales are probably thinking, I'm literally just breathing. Calm down. 22. The ocean is one giant connected pool of water. This sounds obvious at first. Water touches water. Ocean touches ocean. Case solved. Except the ocean once again decided basic logic wasn't entertaining enough. Scientists discovered places where huge bodies of water meet and barely mix. Different temperatures, salt levels, and densities can create visible boundaries beneath the surface. Imagine standing in your kitchen and pouring coffee into milk, but instead of mixing, they stare at each other like neighbors involved in a 10-year property dispute. There are places where divers can actually see what looks like underwater rivers and layers separating different water masses. One side might be warmer, the other colder, one saltier, one denser. It's like the ocean quietly built invisible walls and forgot to explain them. Humans tend to picture oceans as giant bathtubs where everything instantly blends together. Meanwhile, the ocean is operating like a weird apartment building. Warm water lives upstairs, cold water stays downstairs. Everybody mind your business. Nature really loves taking simple ideas and making them unnecessarily complicated. 23. Pirates spent their lives burying treasure everywhere. Movies absolutely destroyed reality here. Every pirate apparently had three things: a parrot, a hook, and treasure buried under an X somewhere on a tropical island. By now, humanity probably believes pirates spent 90% of their lives carrying shovels around. Reality was far less exciting. Most pirates wanted money for one reason: to spend it immediately. Food, alcohol, clothes, gambling, bad decisions. The same financial strategy many people still use today. Treasure wasn't usually buried because buried treasure is surprisingly inconvenient. Imagine surviving storms, naval battles, and disease only to hide your money somewhere and forget where you put it. People lose phone chargers inside their own houses. Now imagine remembering a random palm tree on some island 6 months later. Very few examples of buried pirate treasure actually existed. Most pirates lived fast and spent even faster. The legend became bigger than reality. Apparently, even criminals understood one universal truth: money disappears very quickly when you're being stupid. 24. The deep ocean has no light at all. People imagine the deep sea as complete darkness forever. Nothing, absolutely black, like somebody unplugged reality itself. And technically, huge areas are incredibly dark. But once again, nature added weird bonus content, because many deep-sea creatures make their own light. Bioluminescence sounds complicated, but it's basically living flashlights. Fish glow, squid glow, jellyfish glow, tiny organisms glow. Imagine walking through a city at night, where every person, every dog, and every mailbox randomly lights up blue and green. That's happening underwater. Some creatures use light to hunt. Some use it to hide. Some use it to attract mates. Others seem to use it because nature apparently got bored. And some fish literally dangle glowing body parts in front of prey like underwater fishermen running scams. The ocean looked at darkness and said, "Fine, I'll bring my own lighting system." Humans needed electricity. The deep sea decided to solve the problem itself millions of years ago. 25. Giant waves only exist. In movies for years, people thought stories about massive ocean waves were exaggerated nonsense. Sailors would come back saying they saw enormous walls of water rising out of nowhere. Scientists basically looked at them and thought, "Okay, Grandpa, let's get you inside." Then reality delivered one of its favorite surprises. Rogue waves are real. Huge waves can suddenly appear and become far larger than surrounding waves. Imagine driving on a peaceful highway, and suddenly one building-sized car appears beside you for absolutely no reason. That's basically what rogue waves feel like. For sailors in the past, these waves must have looked completely impossible. You're moving along normally, and then suddenly the ocean stands up and chooses violence. Modern technology eventually confirmed these giant waves exist, which means countless sailors spent years being treated like storytellers before science finally showed up and said, actually, they weren't making it up. The ocean occasionally creates jump scares, because apparently weather wasn't stressful enough. 26. The Bermuda Triangle has a secret energy field. Every mystery show eventually reaches this point. Someone starts talking very seriously while dramatic music plays. Unknown energy signatures have been detected. Suddenly maps appear. Blue glowing animations appear. Everyone starts acting like the ocean secretly built a space station. The truth is much more disappointing for conspiracy fans. No mysterious energy field has been discovered in the Bermuda Triangle. No hidden force. No strange beam shooting from the ocean floor. No underwater alien battery pack. Most strange events connected to the region have normal explanations involving weather, human mistakes, equipment failures, and natural conditions. But normal explanations have a problem. They're boring. Pilot became disoriented during bad weather doesn't exactly sound like a summer blockbuster. Humans love mystery because our brains hate empty spaces. If we don't know something, we immediately start decorating the unknown with monsters and secret forces. The Bermuda Triangle didn't become famous because of evidence. It became famous because human imagination has unlimited data plans. 27. The ocean has already revealed all its secrets. People sometimes talk like humanity finished exploring Earth, as if scientists checked every corner, completed every mission, and somewhere a giant message appeared saying, "Congratulations, planet completed." Not even close. The ocean still hides countless things. New species continue appearing. Strange ecosystems are discovered. Unknown areas remain poorly explored. Imagine finishing 10% of a giant puzzle and confidently announcing, "Yep, I understand the whole picture." That's basically us. And honestly, the ocean seems to enjoy this. Every time humans start feeling smart, nature quietly opens another door. Oh, you figured out sharks. Here's glowing squid. You understand deep water? Here's underwater lakes. You mapped the floor? Surprise, hidden mountains. The ocean keeps reminding humanity of one thing. We're still beginners. Earth isn't hiding a few secrets. It's hiding entire chapters. And somehow, the weirdest ones probably haven't even shown up yet. Which ocean lie fooled you most? Dive into the comments before reality sinks.